of Career Partners International, welcome to our 2012 Talent Management Webinar Series. At any time during the presentation, if you experience technical difficulties, technical support at 1-888-259-8414. We've got a full house today with over 1,200 global registrants, with participants from Los Angeles to Dubai. These webinars continue to grow and are designed to share ideas, thoughts, and best practices that demonstrate the impact an organization's talent has on business performance. Today, we'll be showcasing some practical tools that you can add to your own toolkit to enhance your personal success as well as the success of your organization. For your convenience, we are recording today's session and will share the link to the recording as well as the slides from today. We will also conduct several polls during the session, and we invite you to participate. A little bit about myself. I'm currently Vice President, Client Relationships of Career Partners International Chicago, Kensington International, and work with a wide range of clients providing talent management solutions in a variety of areas, including executive coaching, leadership development, and succession planning, areas that are definitely related to our topic today. I'm very excited to host this event and be with you all. From a best practices perspective, and consistent with Career Partners' talent management model, pictured here, an organization's strategic objectives serve as the starting point for designing talent management strategies that really do achieve business results. This model simply depicts the concept and further demonstrates how business and talent management strategies are intertwined and influenced by an organization's culture and its values. Today, our discussion will primarily focus on the quadrant of develop as we discuss the power of a coaching culture on organizational performance. Here's an overview of our agenda. Numerous research studies have shown that organizations with coaching cultures are at a significant competitive advantage over those who do not. Today, I'm joined by two experts who will share their perspectives and insights. We'll give you a glimpse at some of the research, but spend most of the presentation discussing best practices and hearing about a particularly impactful case study on cultural change. We'll save time at the end of the presentation to answer questions, so feel free to send questions at any time during the presentation by clicking on the red arrow at the top of your screen to open the control panel and then click the question chat feature and type in your question. Today's panel includes Jennifer Collins, President and Managing Partner of Hazel & Associates, Career Partners International Toronto, and Karim Mamdani, Deputy CEO of Ontario Shore Centre for Mental Health Sciences. I'd like to introduce Jennifer as our first presenter. In addition to leading the local Toronto Career Partners firm, Hazel & Associates, Jennifer is an executive coach with over 10 years of leadership development and coaching experience. During that time, she's worked with a wide variety of organizations, assisting them with their talent management initiatives to support their business strategy. Jennifer?
Pam, thank you so much for such a kind introduction. It really is a pleasure to be here with all of our international clients. The turnout is just fantastic. You may recall when you registered for the webinar that you answered a question about how your organization views coaching. Let's get started today by reviewing the results. I was so delighted to see that 94% of our registrants recognize coaching as a skill or a competency for leaders. 40% of you perceive coaching to be a desirable skill for leaders to possess. And for those 5% whose organizations still view coaching as an external resource, I hope the information that we talk about today really provides you with that strong business case to bring forward to senior management and about to sort of sell the importance of bringing coaching internal to your talent. Today, we're going to specifically talk about the power of a coaching culture on organizations' performance. Now, last fall, Berzin & Associates, a well-respected research firm, compiled a 100-page report with findings that outlined a very compelling business case for the implementation of coaching initiatives such as our Managers Coach Leadership Series. Their research showed, and this is interesting, that organizations who effectively prepared managers to coach are 130% more likely to realize stronger business results versus those who don't prepare managers to coach. That's 130% stronger business results. Organizations who report having excellent cultural support for coaching are experiencing 13% stronger results and 39% stronger employee results through engagement, productivity, and customer service. We also saw that organizations whose leaders very frequently make an effort to coach others are seeing a 21% increase in business results. Just take a second to really imagine how great a return your organization could realize if not only senior leaders, but all leaders were given the confidence to coach others towards achieving business results. In 2011, our CPI Fall webinar discussed the importance of individual executive coaching engagements. Today, I'm going to build upon that concept of coaching and discuss the power of creating a coaching culture within the organization. The difference here is really critical and definitely worth exploring. What we'll do today is bring to light the invaluable results that can be achieved by an organization through such an investment in its talent. A couple quick top-of-mind results: the growth and cultivation of internal coaching capability, not just at the executive level, but at that management level as well. And the engagement and retention of your organization's most valuable resource, your talent. Finally, today, we're going to make clear the business case. We will link the development of coaching to key factors in business performance and results. So before I get into it, I just want to take a second and talk about what do we mean by culture. And here, we're really talking about those behaviors and attitudes that are applied at work to achieve desired business results. It's the organization's unwritten rules, your values, your norms, and your practices that collectively define how work gets done. A company's culture can exert a very powerful influence on an organization's business performance. A coaching culture within an organization is one where not only formal one-on-one coaching occurs, but where most people use coaching behaviors as a means of managing, as a means of influencing and communicating with each other. It truly is an environment that values learning and the growth of its people at all levels of influence. Achieving a coaching culture is really an ongoing commitment. You know, there's a need to change attitudes and practices that relate to many aspects of the business. The time, the energy, the commitment, all of that is demanded of senior leadership is unbound. Like leadership itself, you can't switch it off, or as our image here suggests, we can't just tick a box to say I'm done. With investment in a coaching culture, we're really looking at factors that relate not only to specific improvements from individuals, but factors that relate to the key influencers of business success, such as the ability to compete, or to respond to external change, or to implement an aligned strategy, or simply improve employee engagement. Now, the Berzing study that we looked at earlier demonstrated the great deal of value that can be realized by an organization who effectively creates a coaching culture. I do want to take a second to acknowledge that organizational performance very well may be measured, actually is measured differently from company to company. But in all organizations, one thing stands true. Positive business results are dependent upon a sound business strategy executed by an engaged workforce. So saying that again, the positive business results that you want to see are truly dependent on a sound business strategy executed by an engaged workforce. A coaching culture has the power to positively impact various areas areas, and ultimately the bottom line. Today, let's consider 3 key business areas that can be positively impacted by a coaching culture. The first being strategy, one that's both well thought out, robust, and achieves commitment and alignment at every level in the organization. 2, performance, where people are working with passion and purpose towards achieving optimal results. And the third factor, knowledge management, that sort of seamless transfer of knowledge from one leader to the next. So, robust and aligned strategy. Strategies really are as robust as the thinking that goes into them. And given that the core result of coaching is rigorous thinking and the stimulation of insight, the link between a coaching culture and the development of strategy is really quite natural. There are a number of benefits of applying a coaching approach to strategy. 1, it's future-focused and solutions-focused. It can take the sting out of past performance. 2, it requires commitment from all involved to really consider the difficult questions. It builds relationships through a properly managed dialogue. And 4, strategy development carried out in a coaching style facilitates individual and team discovery and learning. Developing strategy with a coach approach also increases an organization's potential for achieving alignment and commitment at all levels. So for those who are outside the strategy crafting process, so we're talking about your individual contributors, your supervisors, and in many times your managers, the critical problem is how to make the strategy relevant to them. Research shows that effective dialogue achieves far more than instruction. Thus, putting coaching muscle behind implementation of strategy at the individual contributor and professional level ensures that dialogue takes place when and where it's needed. When staff participate in this coach approach, they have the opportunity to discover where and how their own inputs, motivators, and their results link to organizational results. Ultimately, the coach approach towards implementation of strategy leads to the alignment of an individual's and organization's ambition and drive to succeed. I cannot stress enough, coaching is one of the most powerful ways to empower people to undertake a challenging strategy and to elicit insight from both leaders and followers. Optimal performance. Every organization has to face performance challenges. The structure of our workplace today allows less and less time for us to not only think about what we're doing, but why we're doing it in the context of organizational success and personal career management. Coaching enables people to take a critical look at what they're doing and how they're doing it, to challenge their routine. It gives your talent the opportunity to identify inefficiencies and performance gaps. It allows a moment for your talent to commit to performance goals. And most importantly, it allows them the time to overcome the barriers that are holding them back from achieving their full potential and possibly your organizational objectives. Coaching helps align the passion and the potential of your employees, and it helps them realize their purpose within the organization. Our third key factor, knowledge management, is one challenge that many organizations face as multiple generations enter and exit from the workforce. One of the most effective ways to transfer knowledge from the subject matter expert, individual contributors, again managers and leaders, to that next level of management is through coaching and mentoring. There are many benefits realized when a coach approach is used as a strategy for knowledge transfer. The first, critical knowledge is transferred to others in a setting that encourages sharing of stories and critical incidents. Knowledge is applied and skills are honed while the expert is still available for consult and coaching. Number 3, it allows that next generation of leader to really discover and test their own solutions to problems and challenges while getting feedback from that expert or coach. And finally, it validates the knowledge, the expertise, and the contribution of the leader who's moving up or potentially leaving the organization. It's that perfect ending to a successful run, if you will. Now, at this stage, we're going to go to a poll. And I'd like to ask everyone out there to take a second and choose one of the following. What is your organization doing to help leaders, managers be better coaches? Are you providing skill building courses? Maybe you're providing formal mentoring or one-on-one coaching, or perhaps you're taking a blended learning approach. Or perhaps you're doing something else or none of the above. So what is your organization doing to help leaders and managers be better coaches? We'll just take a moment. I can see the results are coming in from everyone. Thanks so much. We'll keep the poll open for a little bit longer. So interesting. I love to see the results of these polls. Okay. Still have a few more people sending their responses. This is fantastic. Okay, the results are very, very nice. I love to see them. And I think we're done here. We're going to switch over. Wow. Okay, so right now, what is your organization doing? The highest we have is at 30% taking a blended learning approach, which is actually really great to see. Blended learning has been proven to not only increase learner effectiveness and engagement, but really to produce better outcomes, to increase the efficiency of any in-class time, and to optimize the resources. We also saw a really good response on one-on-one coaching, which again is focused on that ongoing development. As we'll hear later, a blended learning approach really includes training and ongoing group and individual coaching and is key to successfully building and sustaining that coaching culture. Thank you so much for your input. Now that we have a strong case or business case for a coaching culture that's aligned with key factors that will achieve the return on investment you're looking for, let's examine how this is best achieved. So what are some of the best practice organizations doing to implement such an initiative? Now, there's a lot of literature out there, and through the development of our Managers Coach Learning Series, our team of experts have researched the existing knowledge and reviewed successful coaching initiatives. For the sake of time, I'll summarize the 3 key stages that are proving to be imperative to the successful implementation of a coaching culture. Those phases are, phase 1 is plan, create awareness and create engagement up front. Number 2, phase 2, learn and apply, grow that coaching capability internally. And 3, sustain, maintain the coaching culture and allow it to flourish in the organization. So phase 1, plan, create awareness and engagement. First thing we need to do here is to raise awareness and the appreciation of coaching as a tool for not only performance improvement measures, but as a multi-purpose tool for personal growth, to build high-performing teams, to create commitment and the development and achievement of business objectives, and to build a learning organization. Number 2, we need to identify key stakeholders and make sure they buy into the development of their managers. These stakeholders should be encouraged to walk the talk and make public that they're supporting the development of their managers and up-and-coming leaders. 3, it's important that we clearly understand what coaching is and what coaching is not. Everyone needs to know what the implementation of a coaching culture will entail. What results will it bring the organization? And linked to that, and very important, it's time to begin linking current organizational needs and challenges to expected coaching outcomes and eventually improved success within the business. To my last point, A research paper that was published by the Center for Creative Leadership captures business leaders' expectations around the business value of a coaching culture and the importance of linking coaching outcomes to the success of business. Now that big blue piece of the pie that you see there, 97% of respondents think that coaching demonstrates business value, and they believe that linking coaching to business outcomes is extremely important. However, only 3%, that tiny little red triangle, only 3% of these same respondents feel that their organizations are effective at making the link. When you're planning to present this type of engagement to your leadership, please work to ensure the linkage is being done effectively right from the beginning. So let's go to another poll and ask you, what business results does your organization link to coaching outcomes? And in this case, instead of picking one, select all that apply. So what business results does your organization link with coaching outcomes? Are you linking to revenue and sales? Perhaps to productivity, retention and turnover, employee engagement, or something else, or potentially none of the above. So again, I invite everybody to please input and select all that apply in terms of which business results you are linking to coaching outcomes. Again, we'll give some time. I can see responses coming in and appreciate the input. It takes a while with over 1,200 registrants to get everyone in. But here they come, and of course they're always interesting. Quick reminder to select everything that applies. I can see the responses growing. Looks like we're almost there. Okay, wow. Employee engagement came in at number 1 at 65. You know, engagement really does feed into the second and third highest there, employee retention and productivity. Engagement also increases customer satisfaction and ultimately increases profits. You know, if there is one link that we really do want to make from the beginning, it is engagement flowing into retention and productivity. Thank you so much. Let's move on now and look at phase 2. Learn and apply, grow coaching capability. This is where we get to the meat of any ongoing culture-changing initiative, growing internal coaching capability. First step here, provide a coaching model that is not overly complex, one that's teachable, it's repeatable, and it's scalable. One that can be used again and again, one that's easy to understand and to demonstrate. And, this is key, provide a coaching model that can align with existing talent management processes. Second, it's now time to seed the organization not only with stakeholders who can role model the coach approach, but with leaders and managers who can role model the desired coaching behavior in the development of strategy, the delivery of business results, the transfer of knowledge, and the development of personal and professional successes. Of course, in this phase, number 3, we want to provide the actual coaching skills training to our managers and leaders. And finally, let's not forget, we need to continue to link coaching outcomes to the success of the business. That never stops at any phase in the process. To validate the 4 key points just made on the previous slide, let's look back at the Center for Creative Leadership study. 75% of respondents recommended creating a cascading effect by using leaders as role models for coaching. 69% recommended providing managers and leaders with coaching skills training. And again, while growing capability, it's viewed as extremely important to continue to link coaching outcomes to the business. If there's nothing else that you take away from today's webinar, it's the realization that ongoing coaching sustains the learning of everything, Sustained learning allows us and allows our talent and our organizations to flourish. So finally we get to the stage that seems the hardest to commit to, the last stage, sustain, maintaining and flourishing the culture. A coaching culture will lag if the coach approach is not fully integrated with all talent management and other leadership development initiatives. For example, when we work with our clients to implement the Manager as Coach Learning Series, we integrate their existing talent management processes to help maintain and sustain coaching. And if our clients don't have these processes already in place, we can provide the templates, resources, and tools they need to make that integration. The point that I don't want to belabor, but that really needs to be understood here, is that sustainability requires integration. So what are the key points to remember when developing your plan for sustainment? The first is to provide ongoing development opportunities through additional coaching and skill development. The second, recognize and reward coaching culture behaviors. You've worked so hard to get here. When you see the correct behavior, it should be recognized. It's important to integrate coaching with other human management processes, as I keep mentioning. And finally, to develop measures for tracking the return on your investment. The Center for Leadership study again. 43% of respondents felt that it was important to recognize and reward coaching behavior, as we suggested. The respondents felt it was important to integrate coaching into learning and development, to integrate it into job competency models and talent management processes. Establishing coaching as a norm in the organization's culture is critical for sustainability. Coaching approaches and behaviors must be integrated, as I keep saying, so that it becomes a natural way of doing business. Another poll for the audience, please. We really love hearing what you have to say here. And here's the question. What impedes your organization's ability to sustain development initiative? And again, in this case, select everything that applies for you. What is impeding your organization's ability to sustain development initiatives? Is it a lack of executive commitment? Perhaps there's no plan for sustainment. It could very well be limited budget, changing priorities, or perhaps it's the need for other resources outside of budget, like more people or time. So again, take a moment, please, and I see you're already sending in your results, to select all that apply in terms of the obstacles or barriers that are impeding your organization's ability to sustain development initiatives. Results are coming in a little faster this time, and they're interesting as usual. All right, I think we're up. Okay, so it's a tight race, I'd have to say here. Some of the most common reasons that initiatives such as implementing a coaching culture fail are due to a lack of executive commitment, where the CEO maybe doesn't fully embrace or understand his role within the culture. And here we've got that at 41%. Also, one of the major issues that runs up is that there's no plan for sustainment. So coaching is framed as a singular initiative, not the normal way of doing business. Now, the need for other resources tends to be a big one as well, and this could be, and something to investigate, the result of initiative fatigue, or potentially the key players just don't have the time to focus on execution. Thank you again for providing your input there. So I'm going to wrap with my favorite slide, and it's quite simple and straightforward. In a work context, coaching is about improving human capacity to deliver superior organizational results. I'd like to close with a straightforward metric that clearly paints a strong picture for the implementation of a coaching culture. Many times, organizations attempt to invest and develop their talent through traditional training programs. Their hope is to realize increased performance. It's all of our hope. Research by the International Personnel Management Association concluded that an ordinary training intervention with managers increased their productivity by 22%. That's great, and there's a place for traditional training, but it's just not enough. Adding coaching after the training pushed productivity to 88%. That is an increase of 66% more productivity for a total of 88 achieved with coaching over training alone. Just imagine the impact of productivity, much less the return on investment that you could realize by investing in the development of a culture of coaching in your organization. I hope I've been able to clearly demonstrate the business case and the best practices around this amazing initiative. At this point, I'm going to pass the baton back over to Pam. Thank you for having me with you today.
Thank you, Jennifer. You've certainly given us a lot of information to consider. Now what we'd like to do is spend some time hearing about how one organization has really effectively created a culture of coaching using the best practice approach that Jennifer has just shared. I'm excited to introduce Kareem Mamdani to share the journey that his organization has been on and continues to be. Kareem is currently Deputy CEO of Ontario Shores Centre for Mental Health Sciences. He has over 20 years of experience in healthcare, and in his current role is responsible for a wide range of areas, but has a passion for strategic operations and employee engagement. He'll share the journey that Ontario Shores started on in 2010 and continues on today for creating and sustaining a culture of coaching. Welcome, Kareem.
Thanks very much, Pam. It's truly a pleasure to be with you today. I want to take a moment and share our wonderful knowledge exchange in terms of with this forum, and I really want to thank you for that opportunity. To fully appreciate our journey, you might need to know a little bit about our history. So we opened in 1919 as the Ontario Hospital for the Insane, and the organization has held many names and gone through many changes over the last decade. On October 23, 1994, the hospital celebrated 75 years of service to patients, their families, and the communities, with a rapidly growing primary service area of over 2.5 million people. The public joined in the celebrations held on the hospital grounds, and the theme of the event was a proud past, a progressive future, recognizing the hospital's tradition of quality service and its dynamic future. In 2004, another change was about to be announced. The decision to divest and become a standalone facility governed under the Public Hospitals Act was reaffirmed, and the hospital officially divested from government in 2006. We had a community-based board of governors that was created at that time. This was perhaps the most significant change the organization has seen in its history to that point. The organization moved from a government-funded and operated facility to a community-based organization. This created substantial change, new accountabilities, new structure, new leaders. The organization had now to support areas such as payroll, finance, information technology, communications, human resources, all of them on site. Since we were no longer affiliated with the ministry, these support services were no longer available to us centrally. In addition, we had to create the clinical support for our staff, such as professional practice, risk management, quality, etc. Unionized employees saw a significant number of non-union employees hired and a change in their leaders, which created some concerns with the direction of the organization. Post-divestment, there was a lot of work to do. We had established a new management and senior team structure. We were no longer affiliated directly with the Ministry of Health. We were now accountable to the government, our patients, and our community through new accountability structures such as the Public Hospitals Act. We also introduced a much more rapid management of patient care. We were not in the business of warehousing patients, but of treating them and then discharging them to accommodate for the other demands on our healthcare system. The union no longer waited on a centrally bargained agreement, but had to change and engage with us directly at a local level. This created several challenges for the newer management team, as many employees with years of experience didn't fully understand many of these changes. So, our situation. Over the years since divestment, there have been many significant investments in education and training for the leadership team. We approached many change management initiatives from different directions. We prepared managers. We introduced a new philosophy of care. We introduced new technology, including changing processes. We introduced professional practice supports and introduced risk management and new reporting tools. All of the training that had been previously provided was helpful and useful for the management team, but we felt there was still much more that we could do. Our employee opinion survey indicated that managers were looking for more support for their education and leadership skills. Many of them shared similar experiences and challenges. Our 2009 employee opinion survey for managers were lower than the 2007 scores, and we knew we needed to provide them with much more support. They were vital to our ambitious change agenda, and it was obvious the effort had already taken a significant toll. Another telling sign was the overall score for trust in the organization was low, so we needed to build a more trusting team and work environment. So we researched many different options and supports for a coaching program, and the coaching program itself mirrored the benefits of what we were hoping to provide to the management team. We already heard some of the benefits related to a coaching culture. However, these were the ones that we were focused on. There are several benefits to building a coaching culture. These are just a few of them. With these great benefits in mind, we moved forward with our first kick at the coaching program. Our first was a group coaching approach. This got both our management and senior management teams comfortable with seeking outside support. Once the group coaching concept was completed, we did an evaluation and requested feedback from the managers. They participated in focus groups and shared information that was critical to the new recommendations. Thanks to these focus groups, the program was developed to meet the needs of the management group. The management group was presented with various coaching solutions, and they determined a blended approach to coaching, including a foundational coaching workshop coupled with one-on-one coaching supports was the best solution. This addressed some of their previous concerns about the group coaching approach, including a worry about others seeing them as weak. Having this new one-on-one support would allow for confidential ways to share concerns and work through solutions. The program that we adopted was one that all managers were highly encouraged to participate in. At a minimum, all managers were required to attend the workshop and participate in the 360-degree feedback assessment. This would allow us to ensure all the managers received the foundational concepts of the coaching model and coaching conversations. It was determined that if after receiving the 360 from the coach they did not want to continue with the coaching partnership, it was entirely their choice. The ongoing coaching support for managers was voluntary. We understand that everyone will have an engagement at a different level, so we wanted to allow for that flexibility. The workshop was a foundation of coaching basics, containing how to coach and be coached, a coaching model, and how to have coaching conversations. These tips would help prove useful for the managers as they interacted with their teams, but also as they begin their own coaching processes with their own external coaches. In the second half of the workshop, managers were asked to select someone in the room and work with them as their internal coaching partner. This provided a chance for the managers to continue to discuss and reflect on the coaching skills and coaching conversations once the training had ended. It also allowed for managers to bounce ideas off of each other and discuss how they can incorporate the learning into their daily challenges. Following the workshop, managers were now ready to engage with the external coaches one-on-one. This allowed them to reflect on their leadership styles, skills, and to answer some hard-hitting reflective questions. Our external partner supplied us with a wide range of coaches with a variety of skills, and many of them at different levels, to suit all of our managers and directors. In total, 46 managers signed up for the initial coaching experience. At the midpoint and endpoint of our program, we conducted an evaluation to determine if we were achieving our goals. We were very pleased with the results. However, many of the results were qualitative. The managers indicated they felt a sense of self-awareness, confidence, and improved relationships with their teams. We had lots of evidence from the open-ended survey comments and from coaches who provided us with some feedback on what managers were saying about the experience. But where we have seen some significant quantitative wins is in our employee opinion survey results. So when we compared our 2009 and 2011 results, we saw a 23% increase in our employee opinion survey engagement scores. That third bar at the end is the employee engagement score for all of the hospitals in Ontario that had participated in the survey at that point. There were roughly 16 hospitals at the time. In addition, we have seen an increase in the managers' engagement scores from 61% in 2009 to 91% engagement in 2011, an amazing improvement of 30 points. Similar to the previous slide, we moved from roughly comparable with the other hospitals to significantly better. We've also seen great improvement in the questions related directly to the management team, something that we were very keenly looking towards. Questions such as, is your manager accessible or available? We saw a 20-point increase. Does your manager treat everyone fairly? Where we saw a 27-point increase. Or does your manager communicate in a timely manner? Where we saw a 20% increase. Our employee opinion survey scores were a good indication that the leadership skills of the team were improving, and we were on the road to building an engaged and dynamic team. We also surveyed the management group and asked them about the program. Here are their qualitative observations. In all, 30 managers completed the survey, and I'd like to highlight a few findings. 92% gained new insights or skills as a direct result of the program. 89% felt the 360 feedback was valuable, and 76% felt an increased sense of self. So the program officially ended January 2012, but we were able to offer an extension to those wishing to carry on the program and continue the coaching support. Currently, we have 22 managers who are participating in the program. So what are some of our key learnings? We recognize that those not wishing to continue may be due to time. Some did not have a successful partnership or relationship with their coach, and for some, they were simply not prepared for the heavy lifting coaching requires. Senior management support is essential. Coaching requires personal commitment for self-learning. If you're not ready, it won't be successful for you. Coaching requires action. Not everyone is ready for the heavy lifting it demands. Coaches hold their coachees accountable to making change, and they do often follow up. Coaching partnerships can make or break the program. Issues need to be captured early on to avoid disappointment. Timing of the program was important. Ensuring management feels supported, that their time is carved out, and they are supported in taking that time to participate in the one-to-one coaching that was provided. Having the ability to extend the program was a great option that was built into the early stages. Many of the managers learned a great deal from the process and didn't want it to end after their coaching hours were complete. And we wanted to support those managers, so we had allowed for an extension of hours with our partner. At first glance, coaching may look like we're giving busy, stretched people even more to do. However, once people adopt a coaching approach, they're truly freed up. We did have some challenges. Initial resistance from the leaders, skeptical of how an external coach could understand their issues or challenges, and we had some matching issues with coaches and leaders as well. However, we overcame those challenges through this journey. So as our organization continues to embrace coaching, which is positively impacting our organization's performance, we continue to sustain and maintain the learning through ongoing one-on-one coaching. As we move forward, the coaching program is included in our new managers orientation so that all new managers joining the organization are aware of the coaching concepts and the foundational model that we're using. We have also recently implemented a new leadership newsletter that continues to build on issues important and relevant to our leaders. This year, we even have changes to our employee opinion survey results. We recognize that many areas have very different issues, and they struggle, so we have empowered our leaders, our managers, to engage with their staff and build engagement action plans specific to their departmental needs. These are just a few ways that we've continued to build on our coaching initiative. Thank you for the opportunity to share our journey, and I'll turn it back over to you, Pam. Thank you.
Thanks, Kareem. And thank you to both Jennifer and Kareem for a comprehensive look at creating and sustaining a coaching culture. We've been receiving a number of questions, and with our remaining time, what we'd like to do is answer some of the questions that have come in. If you still have a question and haven't submitted it, please type it in the question box, which can be accessed by clicking on the red arrow at the top of your screen to open the control panel and click the question chat feature. Jennifer, I think that I'll send the first question your way here. How would you suggest that we approach our senior management to raise awareness and appreciation of coaching as a tool for business growth and professional development?
We must be having some audio difficulties. Stand by.
Kareem?
Hi there.
Kareem, would you like to answer that question? How would you suggest to that question? How would you suggest?
I think it's a great question and some significant consideration for it. I'd suggest that the best way to approach it is to be clear about why, what, and how. Perhaps why do we invest in this initiative? What will we accomplish or realize for the organization? And how will we implement, at least in broad strokes?
Kareem, it's Jennifer again. Do you mind if I jump back in?
No, please go ahead.
Thank you. I'm so sorry about that. I did have a bit of technical issue on my end over here. I think you're hearing me clearly. So as Kareem, and we discussed this earlier too, the why, what, and how of this. And I think in terms of the why, right back at phase 1 of the plan is to be able to clearly talk about what's happening within the organization and why the need has arisen. So in Kareem's case with Ontario Shores, they had very clear employee survey results that were indicating their managers' need for more development and also that trust within the organization was low. So in your organization, what is the need? Is there employee turnover? Are teams having trouble delivering? Then there's the what. So be ready to talk about the link between using coaching and business performance. At this case, be ready to talk about the return on investment that you'll be realizing through the implementation of a coaching program. And linking back to the why, this means that you need to again have that understanding of where you have business issues now and the impact those issues are having on the organization. As for the how, broad strokes here, we want to create a realistic expectation around the resources needed to implement the coaching culture and to gain commitment up front for seeing it through. That's how results will be achieved.
Thanks, Jennifer. Another question, Kareem, I think this one is for you. As you began the project, how did you identify the key stakeholders in the process, and or who were they?
The stakeholders for our project were obviously our managers, but ultimately, of course, that's our clients or our patients as well. And we were focused on the notion that if we improve trust and communication between management and staff, that our staff and patient satisfaction would increase. So we did try to engage them early in the process. We tested the idea of coaching with larger coaching groups. And when it was demonstrated that there was an interest, we used these focus groups with a management team to determine the types of supports that would be meaningful for them. The focus groups of those managers selected one-on-one coaching and tools for having coaching conversations as the way that they wish to move forward. So this opened up the door for us to start this program with their needs in mind. Of course, the other group that's a significant stakeholder in all of this is the senior management team. And we brought the program to the team. We sought their input and their advice. And quite frankly, we had many discussions about internal versus external supports, because that's always very, very challenging, if you will.
Great, thank you. And then what were the key roles of the executives on the project itself, or through the initiative?
Oh, that's a good question. I think the executives and the HR team were key in supporting the managers. You know, the managers required time to meet with their coaches, and the HR team had to play a key role in supporting those coaching conversations in the sort of the daily interactions for performance management and other related issues. I guess in addition, the executives themselves had been experiencing the benefit of a coach. This was something that our CEO had offered each team member. So in some ways, they had already experienced the value of this. And we were really encouraged to implement a similar initiative for our broader management team.
Great, thank you. I think we have time for one more question. And Jennifer, I'll have you answer this first. You discussed the business case and benefits of creating a culture of coaching. It's obviously a long-term investment, but can you give us a sense of what the financial investment is and or any ROI?
Another tricky one for me. So the financial commitment, of course, is really going to vary by each organization based on not only the size and the breadth of the organization, but also by the organization's existing culture. So where are you now? From the research we've seen today and in our experience, the return on investment can be significant no matter what stage you're in, because the investment in the culture affects employee engagement and productivity, and then ultimately revenue and other key business metrics. Another nice return on investment from the establishment of a coaching culture is through the positive impact it has on other development initiatives, helping to create more sustainability and spend in those areas. So I know I'm not being specific around the financial, but we do know that there's a good return on investment, and the financial commitment is going to vary.
Yeah. Kareem, can you add anything from the personal experiences that you've encountered?
We certainly can. When I reflect back, I think we budgeted for that first year of cost for the program to be approximately $75,000. So, the ROI is truly reflected in our employee opinion survey results and the significant increase in trust that the staff have in our frontline managers. When you think about the current economic environment and the way that organizations are facing significant pressure from government to ensure better service in a more efficient way, investing in one-on-one coaching for our managers was a wonderful benefit that we could have been able to provide, but also had positive impact on our ability to sustain many of the change initiatives that we were employing at the time.
Wonderful, thank you. That's all the time we have for questions, and I realize we've got several more, so we'll make it an effort to get your questions answered offline if it was not answered already. But in conclusion, the opportunity exists today for organizations to obtain a competitive advantage through creating a culture of coaching, particularly given the challenges in maintaining an engaged workforce in today's market. We hope you've walked away with not only an understanding of what a culture of coaching is all about and its benefits, but also the critical steps an organization needs to take to truly attain it. Plan, learn, and apply, and sustain. On behalf of Career Partners International and our panelists, thank you so much for joining us today. We hope you found this session informative and helpful. Today's session was recorded and will be available within the next week at www.cpiworld.com/webinars. Your local Career Partners representative would be happy to provide additional information on today's topic. Your feedback is very important and ensures that our future webinars continue to be relevant and add value to you and your organization. As you exit the webinar, the survey will open in a separate browser on your computer, and we hope that you will complete it. The exit survey is also where you request your certificate of completion for HR recertification credits for today's webinar. Within a few days, we'll email you the certificates to those attendees who stayed on for the full presentation and answered yes to the exit survey question regarding recertification credits. To register for RSS feeds or read our latest blog, visit cpiworld.com. You can also follow us on Facebook at Career Partners International, all one word, or Twitter at CPI World. And of course, please join us in the latest talent management discussion on LinkedIn at Career Partners International Networking Group. We'll kick off our 2013 webinar series in the spring, so please be on the lookout. Until then, have a great day, and thank you for joining us.